guys, welcome back to Ashart Books. Today I'm going to be talking about some books that I would give darn near anything to reread for the first time. So I feel like a lot of us, you know, part of the joy and like the thrill of a new book or a new series is just that feeling of the unknown, but like it's such an interesting feeling when you finish a book or a series that you love, because part of you is just elated because you just finished this journey or this book and this romance, whatever. But part of you is so sad that you'll never experience that for the first time again. And so I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll tell you the book that kind of inspired me to want to talk about these or make this video, which was when I finished the, oh gosh, what is the name? Is it the Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent? So the first one is Daughter of No Worlds. I finished that series this month, which obviously I'll talk about in my March wrap up because, oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts and so many emotions. But when I finished that series, I was so happy, but also like I just was, part of me was like, why did I read that so quickly? I should have taken my time more because I'll never get to read it again for the first time. And so that's definitely one that I really wish I could experience again for the first time. I for sure think I'll reread that series. It's just obviously it's different rereading it the second time versus that first feeling of just like, oh, this is so good. Also, before I continue, let me just say I apologize for my voice slash sounding stuffed up. I have been fighting a really nasty cold the past week or so, and let me just tell you that I haven't really had a cold since before the pandemic. I think because all the masking and stuff, it was working. So I got a cold this week, and I just felt like I was dying. Like, I am not that much of a wimp normally, but this one kicked my butt. So I apologize if I sound kind of congested. I'm getting better, but not 100% yet. Also, you'll notice there's like 6 or 7 books here, I think, because I couldn't limit it to 5. I was trying to just make a list of 5 books I wanted to reread for the first time, but it didn't happen. So we got like 7, and I'm very sorry for that odd number. So the first one is The Widow of Rose House by Diana Biller. This one is so good. I feel like I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure, before, but if not, y'all, go read this. I feel like more and more people are starting to get on this train, but I still don't hear that many people talking about her books. Her third book is coming out, I believe, in a couple weeks, and it's called Hotel of Secrets. So excited for that. But this one is so good. It's a historical romance, and it's set in the United States though. And I'm pretty sure it was in kind of like turn of the century times, but which you know is one of my favorite time periods. But it's about Alva Webster and then Professor Samuel Moore, and it is basically, it's historical romance, but it's also kind of a ghost story, and it's in this like, a big part of the story is this like house, and basically Professor Moore, who is like a genius, is the softest marshmallow of a man you'll ever meet. And Alva has been through a lot in her past, and she's very closed off, and the two of them coming together, basically they're trying to get rid of a ghost. I know it sounds far-fetched, but just, I promise you it works in this book, whether you believe in ghosts or not. I really encourage you to pick up this book. I loved it so much, and I just really wish that I could experience it all again for the first time. Again, I want to reread it, but it just won't be the same, and it was just such a nice ride of a romance, and it was so like sweet and tender, and I liked the kind of ghost aspect of it, made it a little like unexpected, and I wish I could read this again. Beautiful writing too, really love this. Next one is actually a series, and a couple of these are series, which makes sense because while I love a standalone, I am a series like person. I love getting lost in a series, and obviously you spend more time with those characters in that setting, so I think it makes sense to want to reread those for the first time. But this one, they're standalones, but that is Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I love this series so much. Now I will say I love this first book, definitely still 5 stars. It's not my absolute favorite in the series. couple of the later books definitely have taken the cake on the favorite right now, but they're all fantastic. But this whole series, really, I just want to experience for the first time again, because like meeting the Savoy sisters and getting to experience like their whole family dynamic, their sister dynamic, and watching them all like find their significant other has been such a joy. The last book, Grim and Barrett, comes out, I think in not too long, and I'm so excited. So again, I'm a little sad that it's almost over, so it had me thinking that it would be so fun to start over. And if you haven't picked up this series, it's a paranormal romance series about a group of witches and them all finding love. Basically, they're all sisters and they live in New Orleans, and it's so fun. It's witchy, it's fun. It has like a really good balance between fun, lighthearted, steamy romance and also hitting some harder subject matter in different books. So I love this series so much, and I would love to reread this series again for the first time. All right, I feel like this next couple, it's not a surprise for anyone who loves these series that you'd want to experience them again, and that is ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. Like, both. I'm cheating, yes. Basically anything from Sarah J. Maas. I just wish I could reread again. Now, I will say, this series I read last year for the first time, and part of me is like, why did I read them so fast? Because I binged all of these within like, I think it was like 2 months, maybe even less than that. I listened to a lot on audio, and part of me is like, why did I not slow down and experience them slower? Because now it's over. But such a good series. I would love to dive in again. And then obviously ACOTAR, like just the feeling of like when you don't know what was gonna happen reading this first book, and like having everything open, and you didn't know of the relationships that were gonna happen, and you didn't realize you were gonna fall in love with like the inner circle and all of those characters. And it would be so amazing to reread the series again. A friend of mine, I actually finally talked into reading this series for the first time, and she's listening to the first one right now on audiobook, and it is really hard to stay silent, but I'm doing it. But I'm just so excited for her to like experience the whole world, and I think that's why I'm like, oh, it'd be so much fun to read it again. But it is really fun to watch a friend read it again. It's kind of like you live vicariously through them, you know? Next one is one I actually do have a copy of, but I'm not gonna lie, I was too lazy because it is on the top shelf up here, and I have to get a step ladder to get it, and I did not. But that is the Ravenel series by Lisa Kleypas. Again, I'm just including the whole series because really I just would love to kind of dive into this family again, meet them again. I think I'm also kind of having Lisa Kleypas withdrawals because we don't know when her next book is coming or what it is or if it's coming. I'm not going to use if, we're going to use when, because it is. I know she's going to write another book, but the Ravenel series I think is my favorite series from her. I love the Hathaways and I love the Wallflowers as well, but I think the Ravenels have topped them out. And I love this family. I love all the books, like pretty much all of them were 5 stars for me. So it's so funny because I really stumbled into this series, and it has a very special place in my heart because Devil in Spring, I'll put the cover up, was actually the first like true historical romance that I ever read. And I bought it off Amazon because I liked the cover and I thought the dress was pretty. And I didn't have any idea that it actually wasn't the first book in a series. And I just had no idea what I was about to like dive into, and that it would make my love for historical romance. I mean, that's one of my favorite subgenres. So a lot of love for this series, a lot of love for this book in particular, and I really wish I could read it again. The next one is another fantasy series, and that is the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, do I think it's a perfect series? No. Do I think there's been things in some of the books that I'm just like, not my fave? Yes. And do I think some are a little bit long? Also yes. But overall, one of my favorite series. Like, it's one of those things where even when you see flaws, you can't not love it. Like, I still love this series. And again, like, there's so much that happens in this series. I am caught up and I am so excited to see where it goes next. I'm a little nervous to see where it goes next, but as of right now, you know, just thinking about this first book especially and how it's totally different. Like our characters are different. They're in different places. They don't know each other. Like you don't know what's happening. And there were a few twists in this series that I did not see coming, which is always super fun. And obviously you won't have that unknown again if you reread it. So I really love it. I actually have reread this book because I had to remind myself before I continued the series, and it was still good. I love rereading books. You know, you catch different things the second time around, but it's just different than, you know, experiencing it for the first time. So I had to include this one. The next one is a contemporary, and that's The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. I think this is my favorite Kennedy Ryan duology as of now. I don't know, I go back and forth, but regardless, this one and the second book, which I don't have in physical copy, but you really have to read these together. They definitely are like a pair set. But I just was so obsessed with this duology when I read it. And it's still one of my absolute favorite series. Love these characters so much, and they go through so much in this duology. It really follows them for quite a long time. You meet especially our female main character when she's quite young. And then you see her when she's just like this fully fledged, powerful woman. And I loved it so much. And again, like this one doesn't have as many like twist type of thing. You know, it's a contemporary romance, but there's so much drama that happens, so much that happens in these characters' lives. And it was just so interesting and fulfilling to watch them become like the people they are. So I would love to read this one again. And again, if you haven't read this one, give it a try. It's very emotional, as pretty much all of Kennedy Ryan's books are. So go in prepared, you know, make sure you check triggers and all that kind of thing, but so good. Also, I saw the new covers for this, and I don't know, I kind of still like this cover better. I'm so happy that it has I'm pretty sure it got picked up by a traditional publisher, and so that's why it has the cover change and it's having a re-release and stuff like that, which I'm so thrilled for Kennedy Ryan for that. But I still think I like this cover better, so I don't know. Last one's another fantasy series, and this one is just so nostalgic kind of for me, and when I show you the cover, you're gonna know why. And that is the Shatter Me Trilogy, or not trilogy, series now by Tahara Mafi. This is one of my absolute favorite series, like hands down. Loved it. I loved the first three, and then I really did enjoy the last three. Maybe not quite as much as the first three, but I still thought, you know, they were good books, and I loved watching our characters. Now, this cover is probably blinding you with its sparkliness, so I will put it down in a sec, but I do not like this cover, and I have the rest of this series in the pretty covers with like the eye and the colors, but I own the first one and this one because that is how long ago I read this book. I read it when this was all that was available. I haven't bought the new one because part of me was like, no, like I want the original because that's what I read. And it's just nostalgic. I love the series. It's kind of I would say like a dystopian slash fantasy, more dystopian probably than anything. I love Juliet and Warner, like love. And Tahara Mafi's writing is so beautiful. She's definitely, like, style-wise, writing-wise, one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. And I will mostly read anything she puts out. So I would love to reread this series again. Again, really big twist in this series. Some I saw coming, most I didn't, and it would just be so fun to experience that again. Okay, so those are some books that I would really, really, really love to reread again, but unfortunately, unless someone has a time machine, that's not gonna happen. But all that to say, if you haven't read any of these books and we have similar reading tastes, I would highly encourage you to pick them up, because I feel like the ability and the desire to want to reread a book, period, but also reread for the first time is like the biggest compliment. So, you know, obviously all these books are top books for me, and I would definitely encourage you to pick them up if they sound intriguing to you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.